How many years ago was that?
44 years ago tomorrow, on a Sunday afternoon at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yes.
First Church of Deliverance.
Yes.
I was innocent.
Yes. And so was I.
Yeah, Michael, you was not.
How'd you meet?
Tell the story, Michael, because he's the teller of this story.
I'm the teller.
I'm the innocent bystander. Go ahead.
The year was 1900 and what was it?
69.
69.
No, 68. The latter part is 68. Is when I met you.
Yes.
Like September,
Yes.
right after high school
Yes.
graduation.
You want to continue?
Go ahead, babe.
Thank you.
You didn't know the year.
Well, that's all right. I knew the century. Anyway.
What century was it, by the way? You don't know the century.
It was before, it was BC.
How about the 20th century? How about that?
Said, well, okay, that's a good century. Yeah. I'm walking down the street on the left-hand side, just walking and being nosy and looking in store windows, and to my great surprise, stood the woman of my life. Was hanging up clothes in the dry cleaners. And her hair was in a ponytail. Chantilly lace and a pretty face. Oh,
Later.
Anyway,
Later.
she had a ponytail hanging down. Gorgeous.
He went home to get some dirty clothes.
Ain't you listening to anything?
He went home to get some dirty clothes.
Jesus.
I think I'll go home to get some dirty
She
clothes.
is. Boy, I tell you what. And so I went home to get some dirty clothes. You said that I had a pair of green
striped
slacks.
Ugly green. It was
Skinny jeans. Green
slacks. They weren't green. They was
green dress slacks.
Go ahead.
I said, hey, sweet thing.
No, he didn't. He did not.
What's your name? You understand? She just looked just like an angel. She was just special. And so I went home and thought about her, and so I asked her for a phone number that day, and so she said, well, do you have a pen?
It blew his mind because I had never said that before. All of a sudden, fine, do you have a pen? I was just feeling sassy that day.
So then we went out on our first date, right?
Yeah.
To
Grant Park.
To Grant Park.
Grant Park.
Now I used to carry supplies in the car. I carried blankets.
Yeah.
You'll understand. Don't worry about it. Time out.
That sounds real sketchy.
He's a rogue.
Time out. You understand? My mother used to say.
Don't tell that story. No, don't tell it. Please, don't.
I gotta tell.
Get back on.
I gotta tell this part.
No, just get back on.
I can edit it.
I knocked out something.
What?
He had the wrong schedule. There was no concert.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Really, baby?
Oh,
We
okay.
never heard the concert. Just
I
sat
only
there.
had eyes for you.
Okay.
Baby, I said, I really like you a lot. And so here's the deal. I said, we are going to get together. We're going to get married. I said, I'm going to finish your education for you.
No, you didn't say all that, Michael. You just said you loved me and you was going to marry me. And what was my answer? What
No.
did I say?
I'm engaged.
So, Miss Cordell, why were you on a date if you were engaged?
That's what I want to know.
I was bored. I mean, I guess I was attracted to him. I don't know. I don't
She
think
was.
so, though.
Crazy about it.
I might have been. And I might have been. And I didn't have a ring yet, so I wasn't officially engaged.
She wasn't official, nothing. We decided we date.
Didn't go out. I think I just felt like I didn't need to be going out with him because I was engaged. I just so happened I had an argument with my sister because she went out all the time. And I never went out. Either I went to my grandmother's house or so Michael called, and so I was thinking about the argument I had just had with her, and I said, well, I'll fix her. I'll go out. And so I said, okay, well, what time are we going? And he said, you have to be 21. Well, I wasn't 21. I was only 19 years old. And I said, well, I'll get my cousin's ID. This is real funny. I'll get my cousin's ID. And so we got to the door, and the guy looked at me. He goes, how old are you? And I said,
She looked like this.
the guy said,
with the veil and everything.
I didn't.
Innocent.
But I did look 12.
Big bad wolf. Innocent. The big bad wolf.
Vietnam vet with PTSD.
Vietnam vet. You see the PTSD all in my eye. See the fame?
So the guy said, how old are you? And I said, 21. Because I knew I had to be 21 to get in. He goes, 21? And I said, yeah. And he goes, let me see your ID. And so I showed him my cousin's driver's license. He took the driver's license out of my hand, and he goes, yeah. He said, go on in. And he said, by the way, you're 23. Because I didn't know how old my cousin was. So he said, come on, dance with me. And so I got out there, and I was real cute. I mean, when I think about it now, it's just this little thing, you know.
She was fine.
And then I didn't see you again until for a long time. I didn't see him again until the summer. And I don't know why, but I just didn't see him again. And so down the street, just going home, and I heard this voice said, hey, where you going? You want to ride? And I looked around, and he was in this Pontiac, this beige Pontiac with white terry cloth seat covers. It was spotless. He said, you want to ride home? And I said, well, he says, come on, I'll give you a ride home. And so he gave me a ride home, and then after that, we started to date. We started to go out to the movies, to the drive-in.
And you were still engaged?
For a ride. I was still engaged.
Yep. She said his name is Charles Craig, alias Porky.
Not alias, also known as.
We
call him.
We call him Porky. And so, that's a cute name, isn't it? And he's in Vietnam. Well, I had only been home about 2 years, and so that hit home. And I said, listen, I said, you and I are gonna hook up. And I said, guys in combat can't handle, except for me. My whole story.
That's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But anyway. So that being said, I said, do not ever send him a Dear John, okay?
So we dated the whole summer, and Charles was due to come home in August. And so they arranged a surprise party for him. And I was the surprise, you know. I went to Detroit, and so Michael says, are you going to tell him that you're going to get married? And I said, I don't know what's going to happen. And so he just got home from Vietnam. I couldn't tell him, hey, guess what? I'm not going to marry you. So here I am in an environment like this. Everybody knows that we're supposed to get married. How am I going to tell this guy I'm not going to marry him? I couldn't do that.
The devil made you do it.
So I came home and Michael says, did you tell him? And I went, no, I couldn't.
How did you not get caught on dates with that, with like people knowing you?
Because Michael was out of my sphere. I belonged to a major church in Chicago. It was like what we now call a mega church. And I was the princess of the church. And Michael was outside of that. Michael belonged to a very well-known Baptist church. So Charles and I would talk back and forth and like that. But so finally it was like, I couldn't make up my mind. I'm going like, what in the world am I going to do? I've seen him twice now. I can't tell him. So in June, my best friend got married, and I was at her wedding. And so we drove to the reception, and so Mike and I were talking back and forth. Mike goes, well, when are you going to tell him? And when are you going to take that ring off? Because I had a ring off, and I go, I don't know. And we were just kind of going back and forth, and I'm going like, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm just not going to do this anymore. And I said, we can't see each other anymore. So anyway, let me tell you what he did. So he let me off at the reception. Went in, all my friends are there, you know. And so they said, where's Michael? And I said, well, he's not coming. They go, well, why? I said, because we broke up. And they went, you did?
Oh.
It's like,
What's his number?
man, so that means you're going to marry Porky? I said, yeah, I'm going to marry him. So anyway, it was a
Rest in peace.
It was, yeah, bless
Rest
his
in
heart.
peace. I said, everybody is entitled to make a mistake, and you're about to make yours. I tooted the horn. You came back to my window. I let the window down.
Yeah.
And I said, if you make this mistake, then I said that's the one mistake that will be the mistake that you'll make. You looked at me like it was like a thunderbolt that went through your head, like oh, and I said, good luck. Remember that?
Yeah, you said goodbye.
I said goodbye and good luck. And she ran off, rolled the window up. I wasn't mad. I pulled away from the curb and went home and packed my bags because I was going to go back.
Another girl.
And that's the truth.
So anyway, after that episode, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know. So after that little episode, I saw him the next day, and then we just like, you know, it was just like we took a turn at that point. Just like took a turn, like I took a turn. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. I told him, and so then I came home, and Michael bought me a ring in September, and December 21st.
The best man won. I came, I saw, I conquered. Hello. 14.
14.
It was bad, baby. Mother was bad.
What was your wedding song?
Oh, the wedding song was you gotta live a little, give a little, let your poor heart break a little.
That's the story of
love. At a certain point in the ceremony, he would say like the same kind of words, and he would say that, you know, marriage is give and take, and then they would start to play that song in the middle of the ceremony.
And while we were out at Grant Park that day, I made her a series of promises that I kept every single one.
Well, it wasn't, all of them weren't given to me at Grant Park.
Okay.
They were given along the way.
Okay.
Over the next few months.
Can I explain?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I would buy her a home in the suburbs. I would buy her a new automobile. We would have beautiful children, and we would not live in Chicago. She went, wow.
What's been the hardest part? If you had to.
PTSD.
Why?
Because he was not himself a lot of times.
Okay.
The stress of Vietnam and all of that we now know about PTSD, it reared its ugly head. It was hard.
So what would your advice be to women, young married women?
Shut your mouth. Because it does no
aggravates.
good. It just aggravates whatever it is that's driving you crazy. It just makes it worse.
So do you mean
Choose your fights. Okay, to choose your fights and pray a lot. And if you think that you are really, really right and he's really, really wrong, you're not going to convince him of that nagging him. You believe that you're right, ask God to tell him. And God will. But it took me a long time to learn that.
what's your advice to young married men?
Long time.
Dad, what's your advice to young married men?
First off,
Just one piece.
Matt,
This one part of it, baby.
what?
Just one piece.
Made a promise that no matter what she did or said or how much she nagged or whatever, you know, even if it was my fault or if it was her fault, I would never, ever, ever leave her stranded or hurt her physically or whatever. That, you know, it wouldn't happen. And it was a couple of reasons. Is I knew that she was a very special person, and that she was a child of God. So that being said, I just said, hey, we're We're stuck together like glue forever. And I've told her that on many occasions. There's nothing you can do to make me abandon you. Nothing, nothing.
And the moral of the story is there's 44 years worth of stories like this to tell. Some of them really, really good. Some of them really, really sad. Some of them really, really long. But the moral of the story is this is what we did. This is how we got to where we are right now. Where people say, "Oh, aren't they cute?" It took us 15 years to figure everything out. Okay? It took us 15 years to put what we figured out into practice. And then now, the last 20 years, it's all gravy. Now it's all downhill. We'll have a wonderful time. We have wonderful fun. I think the only thing that we're missing right now in our lives is our children. We miss our children. And here we are.
So when couples are having a hard time, your advice to them is, it's okay, it'll be better in 44 years?
Yeah.
Or when it freezes.
Okay, and the past 44 years summed up in one word: Mom,
Fun.
Dad.
I love her. I mean, you know, that's it. I love my wife, and then I love my children, and then I love my wife, and then I love my children, and that's my whole dedication.
That's it. That's it.
It's a love affair.
Yeah.
And it's a serious love affair.
Yeah.
Unless you are willing to die today for your spouse and your family and your children, then you're not really real about it.
Well, you're not fulfilling God's
You're not
idea of marriage, because He said that the man should love the woman as Christ loved the church. And how much did He love the church? He died for it. You gotta live a little, give a little, live a little, let your poor heart break a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. And that's how it turned out too.